Hey, welcome back. Today we've got 3 things that you need to make sure are included in your actions, and the one that I think needs the most attention from my experience. Let's get after it. So, keeping on with our theme for A3s and problem solving, we're going to talk today about the actions that are within your A3. Arguably, the most important aspect of your A3 are the actions that you put into place to achieve what it is that you need to achieve to resolve your problem. So, we're going to go through these actions. I have the last one that I will talk about that I feel is the most important one that you need to address. Let's get started with number 1. You need to split out your long-term actions and your containment actions. These are distinctly different. Containment actions are going to be actions that should be done very quickly. When we say quickly, we're talking within 24, no longer than 48 hours. These actions are going to typically be small actions. They're not going to require a whole lot of red tape to go through to complete them. They shouldn't cost a whole lot of money to complete them, although they may cost money. But these are going to be things that you're putting into place that are going to resolve the issue in the short term, where you're going to be able to continue your process, continue your business without allowing the problem to continue to impact the business. Continuing with the theme that we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks with the forklift operator hitting his head on the cage. While it's not a long-term action because it doesn't eliminate the forklift driver from hitting their head on the cage, you could have them wear a hard hat. Not a long-term solution because they could still hit their head on the cage, but it is something that would allow the forklift operator to continue to operate the forklift without the risk of hitting their head in the future. Long-term actions are going to be more actions that are geared towards things that take more like 2+ days, right? No longer than typically 30 days. If you're inside of the 30-day realm, you're going to be looking at things that are going to be requiring more of a project charter or a longer overall, like a white paper or something along those lines. It requires more approvals. It has maybe more of a CIP that's involved. Things of those natures these are things that are impactful to your problem itself, but aren't really going to be fruitful for your A3 because they just take too long. The A3 isn't going to be the means by which you track and hold people accountable for completing those projects. They're not wrong, but they shouldn't be in your A3. And number 2, we talk about elements that are required for actions within your A3. The important thing when you're putting actions together is you have to have 2 things that are really identifiable within your actions. You need to have somebody who owns it, that you can hold accountable, follow up with, that they're going to own that process and that project. And then number 2, you need to have a date for which you're going to hold them accountable to. If you do not have either one of these things, the project more or less is probably going to die after the A3 is completed because you don't have something or someone to hold it accountable to. You have to have an ECD, an estimated completion date, and an owner with a description as to why that particular action is important. Again, with the previous one, we talked about long-term and short-term actions. We're looking at actions, not projects. So make sure that this is something that you can follow up with quickly, that someone can be held accountable to. That's where you're really going to make a lot of progress within your actions and close them out quickly for the sake of your problem and your A3 itself. And number 3, the quality of your actions. Developing meaningful actions outside of an A3 in and of itself could be an entire video series. However, for this particular video, I did want to talk about the quality of the actions that you're creating within your A3 themselves. The number one error that I see the most is when people are putting actions together, they put them in a way that they mentally think about the step that they want to take, but it doesn't physically manifest anything that is guaranteed. And what that usually will look like within your A3 and how you can find that you're in that trap is if you start seeing your actions start with the word ensure or plan or hopes. Okay, if you see any of those 3 words at the start of your action, you probably are following the trap where you're using what I would call a soft verb. You need to make sure that you are having a plan for how you intend to ensure that that's going to happen. So it's one thing to say, we're going to ensure that this one thing happens every single day. The follow-up question as your leader would be, well, how are you going to ensure that's going to happen every day? That how is going to be the action itself, and you have to answer that question. So when you go through your actions, and if you see a word like ensure, you need to also state, following on that, How are you going to ensure that happens? What's the mechanism that you're going to utilize to complete that action? All right, so that's going to wrap up this video. That's what I got for you today. What did I miss? Anything that I should add to the topic of actions? Next week we'll be talking about the metrics and how those apply to the A3 and then the actions themselves. If you like this video, leave a comment below, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.